Welcome to Phillip Island in Australia, round 17 of the MotoGP World Championship. Well, the wait is finally over. Yamaha have their victory at last. It feels like forever since we've seen a Yamaha rider on the top step. Assen last year, to be precise, and for Maverick Viñales, who was the race winner, Le Mans 2017, 18 months ago. I'm here with Simon Crafar and Matt Birt to try and analyse what happened here today. I'll start with you, Matt. Finally, the wait is over. Now, we should point out that this doesn't necessarily mean that all of Yamaha's problems are fixed, but they will be really happy to get this one off their back.
Cool, what a monkey off the back of both Yamaha and Maverick Viñales, Steve. Yeah, Le Mans 2017, as you just mentioned, such a long time. If that barren run was going to come to an end anyway, it was going to be here in Phillip Island. That sweet handling chassis of the Yamaha it's tailor-made for a circuit like this, fast and flying Phillip Island. But Maverick Viñales was true to his word yesterday. He was always quietly confident. He always said, if I can get to the front, I can make a breakaway. I don't think too many people actually, given his recent form, believed him. The only real hiccup today for Maverick was the first lap. It kind of shocked himself how it all went so horribly wrong. 2nd to 10th, we all thought, oh, here we go, it's the same old Maverick Viñales. But once he got into his groove, he was able to click off those mid-129s. 4 seconds clear at one point in the race, and he was able to manage the tyres when they'd gone off a little bit towards the end. Great to see Maverick back on the top step of the podium. Really emotional for him. He's been through some really tough times, hasn't he? Not easy for him to come through this, but yeah, great to see Yamaha and Maverick back on the top step.
Simon, as a former Grand Prix rider, you will have known those moments where maybe you've hit rock bottom, the emotions, the tears from Maverick at the end there. I'm sure you know exactly how he must have been feeling to finally pick up this result. A great ride.
Well, for sure, Steve, because the riders do it because it's the most important thing in their life. It has to be, otherwise they would never reach this level. And yeah, when you have a low run of results you don't want, it feels like Groundhog Day. You're coming back and putting your heart into it, and it doesn't happen. But when it does like this, yeah, I do know the feeling.
Before we talk about the guys who finished in 2nd and 3rd and the battle for that, we have to talk about this incident at turn 1, because of course we lost 2 riders in the race. Luckily, both okay after a huge collision down at turn 1 between world champion Marc Marquez and Johann Zarco.
Yeah, I mean, super scary, Steve. I mean, this is one of the fastest parts of Phillip Island, one of the fastest sections on the whole World Championship calendar. I was actually just catching up with some of Johann Zarco's mechanics. The data showed the contact with his front wheel on Marc Marquez's rear tyre, 280 kilometres an hour. That's 170 miles an hour. Basically, nothing that Johann Zarco could do, Steve. He got a brilliant 2-bike slipstream behind Jack Miller and Marc Marquez. That just sucked him into the corner a little bit faster than what he was anticipating. Nowhere to go. Marquez had no idea he was behind him. Marc had got a good slipstream himself behind Miller. It was super scary. It's so fortunate that both of them walked away. I mean, of course, it's Marquez's first DNF in well over a year. Took 2 of the main protagonists out of the race, but thankfully both of them were able to walk away, because when you go down the road at 170 miles an hour, it's so difficult to process that speed and how quick it all happened. And I've got to say as well, Andrea Iannone, how fortunate was he? Yeah. Spoke to Andrea after the race, and all he could see at 280 kilometres an hour was this Tech 3 Yamaha coming flying towards him. It takes a lot to rattle and scare Andrea Iannone, but he said, yeah, it was a terrifying moment. So fingers crossed that everybody got away with it.
Such a scary crash, Simon, at that sort of speed. You know what it's like here at Phillip Island. Turn 1 is electrifying, but it wasn't anyone's fault, we should point out.
No, I spoke to both riders after the incident, and both said the same thing. They said because of the speed and the slipstream. At that speed, everything takes so long to respond, Like, for example, if you wanted to change direction at all, it's like in slow motion. It's a real struggle to get it. And then when you do brake, if someone's slowing down in front of you, you just can't slow down, Everything takes time to respond. And I'm just so happy that neither of them got injured. One other thing, I don't know if you'd heard, but Aleix Espargaro said his rear wheel flicked up a piece of rubble from that accident and hit him on the hand and displaced a plate that holds in there, and he had to ride the rest of the race going, in big pain. So not everyone escaped it, but I'm so glad it was minor.
And he still finished in the top 10. That's an unbelievable story. Andrea Iannone, many people's favourites. He had a few moments at turn 4 which maybe hampered him, but once he got to 2nd, For a moment, we thought he might even have something for Maverick Viñales. He ran out of laps, but ultimately a good weekend for Iannone. I couldn't quite work out if he's really over the moon with the second or if he's just ultimately disappointed he couldn't challenge Maverick.
Yeah, I think it was mixed emotions in many respects. Steve from Andrea, happy to be on the podium, happy to take his best ever finish for Suzuki, but contrasting that, I think there was a little bit of disappointment and frustration that he wasn't able to carry on his brilliant form in practice. I mean, on race tyres throughout the weekend, Andrea Iannone had looked an overwhelmingly strong favourite. I think the problem that Andrea encountered today was racing those Ducatis. Yeah. It is so difficult. All the hard work he was doing to take advantage of Suzuki's agility in the first couple of sectors, once he got in front of the Ducatis, he knew that they'd just come blitzing straight past him on the start-finish straight. You've got to then do all the hard work again. And he said actually Dovizioso and Bautista were so much slower than him in the corners, it was holding him up. Once he'd taken the risk to get through them on the brakes, he couldn't make that break to stop them just dragging straight past him in the slipstream. So it was that yo-yo effect. I'd imagine quite a frustrating race for Andrea, because while that's going on, all he can see is Maverick Viñales kind of checking out into the distance. I think Andrea, had he been able to have dispensed of the two Ducatis much quicker, he may well have actually had something for Maverick in the latter stages.
Suzuki continue their improvement, Simon, which of course is great for all of us, but Ducati as well. So the two Andreas, a good day for them, because of course Dovizioso delighted to be on the podium here at circuit. It doesn't work well at.
Exactly. Dovizioso at his bogey circuit, more or less, he's never had good results here on the Ducati on the podium, so he's happy. But Yamaha and Suzuki, I'm really happy about that. Remember our last After the Flag, my wish for the rest of the season was to see other manufacturers on the podium, and we got better than that today with a win.
Well, we saw some excellent action further back. Valentino Rossi, Alex Rins were fighting. Jack Miller couldn't quite get there. Moto2, well, that rumbles on to Malaysia. Just one quick word from you both, if possible, before we move on to Sepang, about that Moto3 race earlier on. That was one of the most mental things I think I've ever had to commentate on.
Well, I think we could probably stand here and talk about the Moto3 race for the next 12 hours. It was truly unbelievable. What an advert for Grand Prix motorcycle racing. It just shows that when you come to a classic venue like Phillip Island, Steve, it's not a modern day circuit that's been designed on a computer. It's just the fast and flowing layout, certainly in Moto3 with the slipstream. It does keep the racing really close. There was a season's worth of drama, wasn't it, in about 38 minutes. A fantastic race, one we'll be talking about for many years. I think one of the closest top 15s in history, and great to see our old great mate Albert Arenas. Actually, where is he with the ice creams?
Yeah,
we need to hold him to that one, but yeah, a fantastic Moto3 race, and yeah, well, what a spectacle.
Simon?
The standout point for the Moto3 race for me that I'm going to walk away with smiling about is young Vietti.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unreal, like second race of World Championship.
Yeah.
And he's standing on the podium. There was other amazing rides in there, but for me that's the memorable one. It sure will be for him.
Well, we've loved Phillip Island. We always love coming to Phillip Island in Australia, and we've got to wait 12 months now. As you can see, we've got jackets on. It's a bit chilly here in Australia. It's time for us to go and warm ourselves up, and what better place to do that than Sepang. We're there in 5 days' time, and we hope to see you there. Yamaha's win is here finally in 2018. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you there.
Zarco clipped the back of Marc Marquez into turn one. Maverick Viñales got ahead of Andrea Dovizioso. It's been 25 long races for Yamaha. Maverick Viñales wins for Yamaha here in Phillip Island. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we stand for the national anthem of...